Kind of. It chose us.
It chose you. Okay.
And it's like less of a traditional remake and more of like an import because the game was released by From Software.
Right.
Only on the Xbox and only in Japan, which, if you know your history of the Xbox in Japan, there was not a lot of those sold.
Right, sure.
And so not a lot of people had a chance to play it. So we saw it and started making some noise about it on social media to see if people really were interested in it because we knew that a community was. And the response was crazy like 2 or 3 years ago. So we've been working on this deal, this collaboration with From Software for about 2 years now.
What struck you about this game when you first encountered it, like personally for you,
Nigel?
Nigel?
So I had seen it before, I had heard it before, and then I watched, I think it's Two Best Friends, it's this famous Let's Play of the game.
Okay.
I sat down and played through the whole game. And the voice acting is what brought everybody in because it's very over the top, very crazy dialogue, and a really cool mech game. Like this crazy patriotic thing where you have the president in a mech fighting the vice president who's also in a mech.
Right.
Indeed.
Which is common today.
As
over America. And it was crazy, it was fun. It looked like a very fun game. And so I did my research and looked into it and started tweeting it From Software. And people were going apeshit, just to the idea of like, because no one's got to play it. It's been 14 years, and most people have never played. They've only seen it like I did.
See, I hadn't even heard of it until it was revealed here, and I had no idea how many people are so like excited to see this.
Yeah.
And I heard some of the dialogue and stuff, and it's all English.
Yeah, the original game is in English voiceover.
Yeah.
Did you have to change any of it?
Right now, strangely, we're having to change all the Japanese subtitles to English.
Okay.
And then we're going to localize in other languages. But yeah, we went to From Software and said we'd like to do this, not necessarily a remaster in the traditional sense, like they just did with Dark Souls.
Right.
But more of a, like the old school when I was 12, trying to import games from the Super Famicom. Like, I want to bring this to the rest of the world. And so Devolver pitched them on them. We had like 2 meetings at E3 the past 2 years.
Okay.
They came and visited us the first time. We told them about the idea. They said, we need to think about it. And by the time E3 rolled around again, let's talk about this again. And they're like, hey, we're kind of into this. And we're like, okay, cool. So we came up with the full pitch. And here we are today announcing it. We announced it yesterday during a press conference live on Twitch.
Yeah, and everybody
It
saw
was
that
not
stuff.
pre-recorded.
Absolutely live.
Absolutely live.
Totally live. No, I just picture you saying like, hey, we'd like to do something with Meta Wolf Chaos. And they're like, all right. And then they call down to the archive, and this guy's like, this old guy sitting there like, what? Do we even own that? He has like pour through passes the Ark of the Covenant.
Yeah, it's crazy. We found out that like the original producer of the game is still there, and he's it's leading a lot of the big projects now, and it's one of his favorite things he's did in the past, and so he was kind of really excited that someone reached out to do this. And he's coming to visit here, be at E3 at our lot, and we'll be talking to press and sharing stories about the game.
So I just thought I'd mention this, that I looked up the wiki and stuff like that, and I thought it was kind of funny because I'm childish, because the vice president's name is Richard Hawk or Dick Hawk.
Dick Hawk, exactly.
Thanks for getting that in there, Zeke. This would have been an incomplete interview.
If that doesn't make you buy it, I don't know what will.
I figured you had a side bet here if you could slip in Dick Hawk.
You know what? We should have put a bounty on it. I do want to know.
Actually, I just won the bet because it was to get you to say it.
Perfect.
Were there any hesitations from the companies in Japan about giving this to you and releasing it?
Yeah, there was. A lot of the conversations, we went and visited them. We saw them here at E3, and the hesitation was, this is something that's very old from they've done. They've done Dark Souls, Demon Souls, Bloodborne. They've done the games they've announced here. There's a lot that's happened since then, and it's an old game, and our plan wasn't, like I said, to completely remaster it and make it brand new. So their hesitation was, is it okay? Did they think the global audience would be excited about just really bringing out an old game with we're going to shine up the edges a little bit, right? We're making it widescreen, we're doing some things to improve it for sure, but is people's reception going to be okay? And also the question about like the political climate, this is about the president, the vice president, it's a war, a civil war in the US. Yeah. And so we talked through all those things, and we showed them actually that tweet I was referencing earlier, like, look how many people, look at the comments here.
Do you have any numbers on that, or?
Oh, it was just like, for us, we're a relatively small company. It was like 5,000 retweets or something like that.
Jeez,
for us, it was huge.
Yeah.
And like yesterday, we announced it, and it got 10,000 or something. And so for a small company like this, that's pretty big. And then when you can just Google search it, and you see how many people have been asking for it, how many people watch these Let's Plays. So we were able to prove to them not only was it a good idea, but people really, really, really wanted it.
Well, can we get into like actually a little bit of the game itself?
Sure,
like,
absolutely.
Can we? Because I'd never known anything about it. What's like is there level progression? Is there customizability? What? Yeah.
So it starts off. I think what you're seeing here is when Dick Hawk, as you mentioned, takes over the White House.
So happy.
And Mike Wilson, or Michael Wilson, the president, has to escape. And the idea is you start in D.C., where it's moved already to the, you'll see here on the screen is the Grand Canyon. So you're moving around the U.S., the famous locations in the U.S., San Francisco, I think Vegas, Houston is one of them. Hometown Houston, what's up? And you basically are trying to get rid of this infiltration, the vice president trying to take over. So you're moving, it's a very standard level-to-level progression. You'll have goals to take out all these enemies or unlock this or do that. So it's very straightforward, and the gameplay is very action-oriented. It's not any sort of kind of simulator. It's very much action. You have 100 different weapons in the game. They pop out from your shoulders, and you select which arm has which weapon. You're able to do a dash, a slam, things like that. And it's just, it's a fun game, but it's also just so over the top. It's like the story's neat, but it's the presentation of the story that just blows people away. Of the president, asking his secretary, she'll pop up and she'll say, "Hey, this is what you're on your schedule today. You have to meet with the foreign minister of China for your meeting. You're going to have to cancel it. I have to save America." Things like that. It's very presented straight-faced and like dry, but it's just somewhat ridiculous kind of dialogue. But it's fun. It's a lot of fun. And From Software is into that. They see why people love it and are happy to bring it to their fans.
Do you think some of the dialogue happens because of the translation, or?
Yeah, that's one of the questions we kind of posed to them. It was written in, like I said, it was only done in Japan, so they clearly wrote it in Japanese first and then had it translated. So definitely that was involved there, right? And I think it's a very eccentric game to begin with. It's not just the language, there's some crazy things that happen. There's a gun that shoots confetti and money for some reason. There's some weird stuff that happens in the game. So I think there's a blend of like just really kind of more of a fun take on this kind of genre. And then, of course, translation maybe in 2004 and the recordings that went into the voiceover. But we're keeping all that. We talked to From, we said it's very important that, again, we're not trying to remake this, and we want the rest of the world that hasn't seen this to be able to chance to play this. So we don't want to change the dialogue, we don't want to change the voiceover, we don't want to change too much. We even had talks about what we're going to do with the mech and how he's going to look. We're like, no, we need to keep him just the same, because people haven't been able to play this yet. This is not a remaster, like they're revisiting something they've already played. They straight up haven't been able to play this before, so we're excited to bring it.
So have you had a lot of hands-on time with this game yourself?
Yes, I have.
And you've beaten it, I assume?
No, not yet, because it's interesting. I didn't play to play the original version, you have to have a Japanese Xbox and a Japanese version of the game.
Oh, so it won't play in
it won't play in any other Xbox. It's region locked, right? So the first thing the team did is have to port it to PC. And I ported it to PC, and I said, I'm just going to wait because I want to play, I'm going to be that person. I want to be that consumer that plays it for the first time. So I want to wait until some of the upgrades are starting in there so I can experience it that way. Because I've watched countless times the original game. So I just played it, played this demo, and played some of the later levels that you're seeing here that we don't have in the demo at E3, and it's a lot of fun.
You've been able to call out some cool moments already, but I was wondering if there was anything special to you that when you were playing through it that you wanted.
The opening, it's in the trailer, and we use it in the trailer, and we use it in the demo. The opening thing, you just have this solemn look at the White House, and a mech blows through it and does a front flip, and it says, screaming, it's a president in that mech, mind you, screaming, "Let's party!" It's just like, that sets the tone for the rest of the game. That's the most memorable thing. In fact, the first cut of the trailer, we didn't have the "Let's Party" in there. We just had that scene, and then he came down and said something else. And From Software, rightfully so, says you have to put "Let's Party" in there. That's the identity of it. So they're good stewards of their own history, and they made sure that they knew what people liked and what we needed to make sure to present in the game at E3.
I love that. I love that they a game that maybe had been missed by a lot of people. They still have a reverence towards it and a want to get it out there in the right way.
Right, doing our research, we looked at it. They have it on their website. This is something that is part of their history, along with Armored Core and a lot of the things they've done. And so I don't know, we're excited that we're able to work with From Software. It's fucking amazing.
Cool. Yeah, right?
And this is a perfect project for us. It's taking an eccentric thing. That's what we do, is find oddball, sometimes games, and bring them to a larger audience. And this is how we could do it with a big studio like From Software. What
is the difficulty like? Is it pretty hard?
That's a really good question. It's really easy. Relative to what you know about From Software games, it's extremely, it's not hard at all. It gets more difficult later but one of the first things we said, and the developer General Arcade that's doing the kind of translation, if you will, for us, or the modifications, They said this is remarkably easy. So the conversation, we were just in Tokyo visiting From Software, and the conversation was, we want to keep it the same. We don't want to change it because, again, people are going to play this for the first time. So what we're going to do is add like a new game plus or hardcore mode.
Oh,
that's a little more in the vein of From Software, so those fans can experience a much more difficult, maybe challenging thing. But it's important to us that we bring this game as it was for the most part. Like I said, this import, this like modernized import.
Have you gone through and added achievements?
We haven't done that yet. There is, we talked about like how we're going to do that. Like, you know, it's beating a level. There's the conversation is these crazy moments in the game. So we don't time the gameplay. It's just reaching a certain point when he says something like, let's party, and then boom, your achievement is party completed or whatever.
Sure,
you know?
yeah.
So yeah, we're definitely looking at things like achievements and trophies.
Excellent. Okay, when can we get it?
It will come out later this year. We don't know exactly when because.
Welcome to the White House.
Michael! Richard!
Great work, President. But you still have a delicious dessert coming.